Hello, good morning and welcome to the Sunday Supplement. Manchester is a City United. Roberto Mancini wins the FA Cup for the blue half. Sir Alex Ferguson makes it a record 19th title for the red half. At the bottom of the Premier League, West Ham face relegation today. Our champion lineup of football correspondents this morning: Matt Lawton of the Daily Mail, Jonathan Northcroft of the Sunday Times, and the Independent's Sam Wallace. No prizes for guessing what's all over the Sunday newspapers. A lot of great headlines around. This is Jonathan's paper, the Sunday Times. A City United in joy. This is Carlos Tevez lifting the FA Cup for City, and Wayne Rooney celebrating the goal that gave United the title at Blackburn. That was the penalty. This is the Sunday Telegraph. City United in triumph. City celebrating the FA Cup, United coming together at the final whistle at Blackburn, 19th record title, overtaking Liverpool, and that means so much to them. We'll have a closer look, of course, at that. We like this headline on the Daily Star on Sunday: 1935, 19th title for United, 35 years since City won anything. Is that going to be the start of a huge glory trail for them? We'll have a look at that, of course. A lot of comments on what's happened over the weekend. This is Andy Dunn in the News of the World, regular on the Sunday Supplement. Keeping Rooney was Fergie's big triumph. We'll have a look back over United's season. Do you agree that keeping Rooney at Old Trafford made the difference with what they've achieved? This is the Sunday Express. Just turn inside. I mentioned that West Ham could be relegated. Scott Parker, the Football Writers' Player of the Year, is going to play at Wigan today in a last-gasp effort, but it looks bad for them. 8,000 fans expected at Wigan, 4,000 of them being paid for by the owners, David Gold and David Sullivan. The whole stream of buses already on their way up there. A couple of other stories. This is the Sunday Mirror. Kenny Dalglish signed a 3-year contract during the week at last, and he's been given £50 million to spend on new players in the summer, according to the Sunday Mirror. And this is the Sunday People. A little interesting twist on what's happening at Aston Villa. Their manager Gerard Houllier, of course, ill at the moment, and they're suggesting that if he doesn't return to management, that Villa will go for Everton's David Moyes. We'll have a look at that, of course, a little bit later on. But we start in the blue corner, Matt, of Manchester. The FA Cup, they qualified obviously for the Champions League this week as well. Surely that will end the speculation over Mancini's future. I mean, they must keep him now.
I think so. I interviewed David Platt a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that when he sat down with them to discuss the role he was going to take on there last year, there were very specific targets. One was winning a trophy, but the main one obviously was qualifying for the Champions League. He's done that. He appears to have a good relationship with the chairman, Carl Doon. I don't really see the sense in sort of destabilising it all again and going for somebody else, because of course you bring in another manager. There's been talk of, if Ancelotti leaves Chelsea, which seems highly likely. There's been sort of rumours of such a change, but Ancelotti comes in, doesn't like the look of half the team, doesn't like the look of Deco, the striker. You start again. Like it depends how much money they want to waste, really.
Yeah.
And I think Mancini's earned the right to start the new season. I think it's going to be hard next season. I think you've just mentioned that Liverpool are going to spend 50 million quid in the summer. I think since Dalglish took over, I think they'd be second.
Yeah.
In the league. It's going to be just getting in the top four with Arsenal again, a year older. It's going to be an extremely competitive Premier League next season, but yeah, he's got to be given next season. I don't think he'll get very long. I think it's got to start well, and I think if they're sort of lagging behind a bit by Christmas, I think he could be in a precarious position.
Interesting statement of intent by City yesterday at Wembley to win the FA Cup, first trophy, 35 years. Start of something big?
I think it was the start of something big. But I mean, any club that invests up to £1 billion in contracts and fees and buying the club, that's an enormous kind of sort of pledge to win trophies. I think when Mancini was given his brief by the owners, I should think that the FA Cup figured that highly. the most important thing was what they achieved on Tuesday, which was getting in the Champions League. But the FA Cup is a great bonus, and the fans
to actually
love
have
it.
a trophy.
Yeah,
yeah.
The fans love it, but let's not be sentimental about this. Modern football, whether you like it or not, it's about getting in the Champions League. If you want to be an elite team, it's where you have to be in terms of attracting players, in terms of the revenue that the club earns. So I know the sentimentalists won't like this, but the most important thing from the point of view of the owners, I'm sure, was getting in the Champions League.
Because if next season the only thing that Manchester City won was the FA Cup, that wouldn't be enough.
No, I'm afraid that managers these days, you don't get judged on FA Cups. Right, I mean, right at the top of the tree, when people say, "What have you won?" they're talking about Champions League and Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hard truth. They don't talk about FA Cups. I mean, even in the 1980s, FA Cups still meant a great deal. They kept Ron Atkinson in a job at Manchester United for a long time, didn't they? But these days, I'm afraid you don't lose your job or keep your job based on an FA Cup, and that's the sad truth. Although, albeit it was a great day yesterday for City, and the fans loved it. That's the modern reality.
So can we say that he's done an outstanding job this season, Mancini? Are you a Mancini fan? Does he deserve to stay? But if you look at qualifying for the Champions League, winning the FA Cup, on paper that looks great.
I think increasingly throughout the season he's done a good job, and I've warmed more to him as the season's gone on. I mean, it's not easy to pilot a team to success when they've had that long without success. And if you look at how difficult Arsenal are finding it to win anything, and that's after 6 years. He has changed the culture of that club. He's given them a winning mentality. And I thought one of the things that was interesting yesterday was when he said, there's going to be no alcohol when the players are celebrating, because he's focusing on Tuesday's game. And I think he's looking at trying to finish third in the Premier League now. So there's automatic Champions League qualification. I mean, Mancini's got that kind of relentless ambition that you need to be a manager of a top club. And I would differ from Sam slightly in that, although qualifying for the Champions League is the most important thing in modern football, I think winning the FA Cup could prove extremely important in City's history. Mancini's been talking about instilling the winning habit. Yeah. And we saw what happened to Man United in 2006 when they won a Carling Cup, and that was the springboard for the success they've enjoyed since. So getting in the Champions League will be great for City, but the fact that they've now won a trophy might just make them more competitive in the league.
Do you agree with Matt that he deserves to be manager next season?
Undoubtedly, and it's not.
And do you think he will be?
I think he will be. I mean, there's a little bit of talk at the moment. Ancelotti's going to become available. He's going to leave Chelsea, and Mancini, I believe, has had some kind of meetings with people from Juventus, but then he's got lots of friends in Italy, and City apparently quite relaxed about this because these are just people that he knows. While the owners are in charge of Man City, while there's all that money sloshing around, while there's this pressure to succeed, I think there'll always be speculation about whoever's in that manager's job. And one of the things that Mancini's done very well is handled the kind of, the noise, the pressure surrounding that job, and remained very, very focused on what he's doing. Yeah.
Do you anticipate a huge spending spree again by City in the summer?
It's an interesting situation, that, because I think Mancini wants to spend a lot of money, and I suspect that the people from Abu Dhabi would like to spend a lot of money, but at the same time you've got Gary Cook and Brian Marwood there, who are painfully aware of the financial fair play rules that are going to come in with UEFA. So it's a balancing act, and I think the part of the problem they're going to have...
That's a year's time, that, isn't it?
Yeah, and part of the problem they're going to have this summer is, before they spend, they need to get rid of a few. They need to actually properly move on the Bellamys and the Givens and players like that who are, at the moment, are commanding massive salaries. And you can almost see this summer that there being a kind of, the clubs that might be interested in taking them are going to really push it, knowing that City are in a slightly weak position in that they've sort of overspent on contracts.
Yes.
So I think it could be quite a torturous summer for City, this.
But in the Champions League, you would think they would need people that have experienced the Champions League. I mean, they've been linked with Schneider, haven't they, for instance?
Yeah.
As United have.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were Schneider and you had the opportunity to go to City or United, where would you go? You'd probably get £100,000 a week more at City, wouldn't you?
I would go to Manchester United personally, but
for what reason? Bigger club?
Yeah. I think City. I think Manchester really is going to be an extraordinary place for the next few years. Although certainly until, like, the big thing with United is how much longer Fergie can go for, and then that's going to be the big shock to the system when they try and change that. Yeah, I just think United's United, isn't it? For me, it'd be a no-brainer. But yeah, if there's another $100,000 a week on the,
you never know.
In journalism, we don't we rarely face these concerns.
If there was a tug of war